So I want to dive a little bit into who you are as a leader, because they really who we are as a leader really becomes an imprint on who our organization becomes. But I was reading a little bit about your bio, and did your journey start in Kansas, or is that the place you just went to for college?
Well, so my journey actually started in Southern California. I was born in Pasadena, got from
Wow.
there to Colorado, was there for a while, and then ended up in Kansas somewhere in my middle school days. And so
Hmm.
then I went to school there, graduated from Olathe in Kansas. Olathe is at that time when I was there, it was a little town south of Kansas City. Now it's a suburb. Talk about change of Wenatchee. Every place is doing that. And so, graduated high school. Then I attended the University of Kansas from there, and then ended up out here in Wenatchee.
Wow. Uh, Funny story. When I graduated high school, we had come from New Zealand, our family, to the United States. My dad had come over here and brought us with him on a second trip. And I graduated high school about 2 hours east of Los Angeles, a place called Ridgecrest, which is out in the middle of nowhere. And my first thing was to escape the desert. And I ended up getting a job working for a construction company. I was 18 years old in Pasadena. Found a little church ran by a pastor by name of John Mayo. Had a great little congregation at the local women's community center there in Pasadena,
Mhm.
and that was my first year being single. It was quite something. I grew up a lot moving from a New Zealand slash Ridgecrest background into Pasadena. So
Yes, for
um,
sure.
the smog got pretty bad though from when I was there. So
Yes, it's definitely intense, and I've lived all over. So I've lived in Pasadena, lived in Kansas City. I've also lived in rural North Dakota,
oh
and so
wow.
the difference between those are very interesting, and yet there's some similarities that I think would be interesting to explore at some point, because I do think that community is built around a group of people with whom you're close. And I think sometimes our suburban life can cause us to have a little bit of a spread, even more so than the close quarters of a heavy urban center. So I
Mhm.
actually found my time in North Dakota in that small town was very much more similar to Pasadena in that small community than it was in suburban Kansas City.
Oh, wow.
Much
Wow.
much more similar.
You started your adult journey graduating from the University of Kansas with a degree in architecture. And 16 years ago, you graduated from Northwest Nazarene as an ordained pastor. And that sounds like a story in the making. Like, that's quite a leap from architecture to ministry. Can you take me a little bit upon the change in that journey that took place?
I've always been a curious person. My mother tells a story when I was younger of I would stare at a pencil and I would ponder how in the world they got that lead inside that pencil.
I've asked
And
the
so
same question. Did you ever
I
get an answer?
no, I never have, but there's been a curiosity, and so that curiosity led me to explore drafting and architecture in high school, and then stepping into college, and then the vocational shift was really simply growing from that curiosity of building and architecture into the curiosity of the human condition. And so really my journey has been founded on that curiosity and that exploration. That's the common thread, but just shifting now to what's this human condition, and I found it to be much more complex than architecture. in in the nuances of the human condition. And so
I
that
think you're
allowed
right.
that shift allowed me to change directions many times over the past 40 years. It's been people directed, but I've served as a pastor for 25 years. I farmed at the same time in North Dakota I've worked for the Wenatchee World as an ad sales. I've worked for Swim World, repairing hot tubs and swimming pools, and I've started or directed 5 nonprofit organizations over the past 30 years, and so there's been a lot of of unique experiences that I have been able to have, but they really have been founded in that curiosity.
Mm.
That really has kind of been that bedrock thing that I'm just very curious.
It's so true. There's some things that pull our heart towards the care and nurturing of people, the bringing hope to people, and then we fund it any way we can, whatever jobs that are needed, so that we can stay true to really what's our calling or our heart pull. Your shift came from a church focus to serve Wenatchee Valley. What drew you to them specifically?
When I came back here in 2003, I was serving as a pastor, and our church was a partner church of Serve Wenatchee, and so we operated a non-food pantry that benefited the families that would come to Serve Wenatchee, and so we were working in partnership. I also served on the board on 2 different occasions with Serve Wenatchee, so I knew the intricacy and kind of that working of the organization. Really loved its model, is its compassionate care, and its willingness, the organization's willingness to work with a multiple of churches to figure out how to do this thing together. And so then when a good friend of mine, Bob Shepard, the previous director, announced his retirement back in 2017, again, my curiosity led me to say, I wonder if this might be something to which I'm drawn. And so I submitted my resume for this position, and then just trusted the process. And they asked me upon consideration to serve, and stepped in there in August of 2017.